Hi, I'm Dan Umpton, international skateboarding sensation and comic book enthusiast. Welcome to Narnar Shred Town. Prepare to get your boom boom huck jammed. You know, when I'm not thinking about night thrashing, I'm thinking about comic books and what happens in them. See, sometimes superpowers aren't the most deadly thing in comics. Sometimes it's about what you're packing in your back pocket. You know, the kind of heat that you're bringing. No, I'm not talking about in your pants. I'm talking about weapons. What are the most deadly weapons in comics? Well, as it turns out, literally none of them are guns at all. So let's look at the best things that you could possibly have in your corner when it turns out that you're fresh out of fists and I-beams. Alright, we'll start with number 13, and that's Weapon Infinity from the Weapon Plus project, Project Deathlock. I know it's technically not something that you can hold in your hand, but it was developed as such, and it's pretty deadly. The Weapon Plus project originated as an attempt to duplicate the efforts of Dr. Abraham Erskine's super soldier formula that created Captain America. And the program, headed up by alternatively Department H and the World, which is a secret research project, has created such notable graduates as Phantom X and, of course, Wolverine, Weapon X, or really Weapon 10. Weapon Infinity happens to be one of the later attempts at that project. Weapon Infinity basically fuses components of the cyborg zombie Deathlock into pretty much everybody. The original attempt started off with converting corpses of just regular soldiers and eventually moved on to actually converting superheroes. In an alternate universe, it actually ends up everyone turns into a Deathlock of some sort, an alternate future that makes The Walking Dead look like a pizza party at Chuck E. Cheese. Speaking of the Weapon Plus project, let's get to one of the obvious best weapons that you could possibly have, and that's Cap's shield. It's the only one of its kind. It's made of lightweight vibranium, it's durable, balanced, and it absorbs energy from gunfire, explosions, energy blasts, and the like. Primarily defensive, any Cap wielding it, regardless of who it is, Steve Rogers or Sam Wilson, uses it to great offensive effect as well. Number 11, La Fleur de Mal. The sword-wielding Guillotine was introduced in Marvel's mobile game Contest of Champions, but they've actually introduced her into comic books, and she started off in a book of the same name, and she's badass. In that book, her possessed vampiric sentient sword, named La Fleur de Mal, which means the flower of evil in French, speaks to her and gives her direction. But at one point it's shown in actually cutting one of Cap's shields in half, albeit a shield from an alternate universe. So that makes ranking its ability pretty easy, just one spot higher than Cap's shield. Number 10 is Valiant's Bloodshot, who's a merciless cyborg made out of nanites that are basically all supercomputers. Valiant's Bloodshot was made to kill psiots, which are metahumans with mental powers that can manifest from anything like flight, super strength, healing, telepathy, actually really anything at all. Bloodshot is literally an unstoppable killing machine created by Project Rising Spirit until he becomes damaged and sort of grows a little bit of a pesky conscience. He can do damn near anything at all. He can shapeshift into whatever other form. He's got super strength, extreme durability, energy blasts. He can connect with machinery. He's basically a Terminator made out of living oatmeal that believes in civil rights, and few things are scarier to people in the military than something like that. Number 9 is the Destroyer Armor. It was created as the ultimate weapon for Odin, well, other than the Odin Sword and the Odin Force. Odin's the king of Marvel's Asgard, and the Destroyer Armor is virtually indestructible, mostly because it's an empty shell of armor with devastating energy blast projection. The Destroyer Armor was depicted in the first Thor movie in the MCU, and pretty close to its comic book depiction as well. The main advantage over its sheer tank-like qualities is that the pilot is remote. They're projecting their spirit into the armor. So you don't really stand the risk of actually getting hurt directly if you're using it, most of the time. Currently, the Odinson, Thor, is using one of its arms as, well, an arm, since he can't wield... Well, let's talk about that one. The Odinson, Thor himself, wields the mighty Mjolnir. It's a mystical short hammer that only those who are worthy can even think of lifting. It weighs in at a respectable 42.3 pounds, if you checked out episode 11, but it hits like an enchanted semi-truck full of fuck your shit right up. If you're going up against Mjolnir, you're going home in a body cast, if you're lucky enough to not get burnt to death by the lightning it calls down. And while Cap ricochets his shield back into his hands just willy-nilly, Thor's hammer actually comes back to him because of an enchantment that's on the hammer to begin with. But the current Thor, can actually guide it like a goddamn heat-seeking missile. Look, Mjolnir is easily one of the most badass weapons in comics. Period, ended. We all agree on that. But it clocks in at number 8 of all things, and that's a good thing, because the top 7 includes stuff that can melt time and straight up erase your ass, butterfly effect style, completely ruin your day. Keep watching, because in part 2, we're going to get to the rest of them. Thanks a lot. Pick of the week, which I know I haven't been doing, and I should have been doing. This week I'm going to go ahead and say Morning Glories number 50. It's Nick Spencer's premier independent book. It's through Image. It's fantastic. You should check it out. Also, the Monstress trade paperback comes out today. Also, you should check that out. It's $9.99. It's also through Image. It's Marjorie Liu. It's a mind-blowing story. If you didn't actually pick it up in single issues, this is 100% worth it. It's actually cheaper than having bought all of the issues together. But it's a great story, and you should absolutely check it out. Thank you. We'll see you next week.